The knock came at exactly 8:17 p.m., firm, confident, and completely unexpected. Daniel froze mid-step, his daughter asleep on his shoulder, his tiny living room dimly lit by a flickering lamp. No one ever came this late, and certainly not someone like her. When he opened the door, the woman standing there didn't belong to his world. Elegant. Powerful. Unshaken. And the first thing she said made his heart stop: "Your mother gave me this address." But Daniel's mother had been gone for 3 years, so how could this woman know her? And more importantly, why did it feel like this moment was about to change everything? Daniel Carter had learned to survive on very little: sleep, money, and hope. Ever since his wife left, leaving behind only silence and a 2-year-old daughter named Lily, his life had been a constant balancing act. Work during the day, care for Lily at night, and in between, memories he tried hard not to revisit. So when he opened the door and saw a woman dressed in a tailored black coat, her eyes sharp yet strangely emotional, he instinctively felt out of place. "I think you have the wrong house," Daniel said quietly. She shook her head. "No. This is exactly where I'm meant to be." "Are you Daniel Carter?" His grip tightened on the door. "Yes, who are you?" "My name is Evelyn Hayes," she replied, her voice calm but carrying a weight he couldn't understand. "And your mother?" "Margaret Carter, gave me this address before she passed away." The words hit him like a storm. "That's not possible." "I wish it wasn't," Evelyn said softly. "But I need you to let me explain." "Please." Daniel hesitated. Everything about this situation felt wrong, yet something in her eyes, something painfully sincere, made it impossible to shut the door. He stepped aside. Evelyn entered, her gaze scanning the modest apartment, the worn couch, the scattered toys, the quiet evidence of a struggling but loving home. When she saw Lily asleep in Daniel's arms, something shifted in her expression. It softened. "She's beautiful," Evelyn whispered. Daniel nodded. "She's all I have." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Evelyn reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope, old, slightly worn, and unmistakably familiar. Daniel's breath caught. "That's my mom's handwriting. She gave me this letter 6 years ago," Evelyn said. "She made me promise I wouldn't open it, unless something happened to her." Daniel carefully took the envelope, his hands trembling. "Why you?" Evelyn hesitated. "Because I owe your mother everything." And just like that, Daniel realized, this wasn't a coincidence. This was something his mother had planned. And whatever was inside that letter, was about to turn his entire life upside down. He opened it slowly. As his eyes scanned the words, his expression changed, from confusion, to disbelief, to something deeper. Emotion. When he looked up at Evelyn, his voice was barely above a whisper. "She wanted you to find me." Evelyn nodded. "Yes. But why?" he asked. Evelyn's eyes met his, vulnerable now in a way that made her seem far less untouchable. "Because," she said softly, "your mother believed we were meant to save each other." And in that moment, Daniel realized, this wasn't just about the past. This was about something far bigger, something neither of them was ready for. And the real story was only just beginning. The truth Daniel uncovered in that letter wasn't just shocking, it was life-altering. His mother had written about a time before everything fell apart, before illness, before loss, before loneliness. She had written about Evelyn, not as a stranger, but as someone she once helped when no one else would. Years ago, Evelyn Hayes hadn't been a billionaire. She had been a desperate young woman with nothing but a dream and a mountain of debt. Rejected by investors, abandoned by partners, and on the verge of giving up, she had met Margaret Carter, Daniel's mother. Margaret had taken her in. Fed her. Encouraged her. Believed in her when no one else did. And before Evelyn left to rebuild her life, Margaret made her promise one thing: if you ever find success, and if my son ever needs help, find him." Evelyn had kept that promise. But what Daniel didn't expect was how deeply their lives would intertwine from that moment on. At first, it was practical. Evelyn offered to help him, financially, professionally, even personally. She arranged better childcare for Lily, helped Daniel get a higher-paying job, and slowly began to step into their lives. But Daniel resisted. "I don't need charity," he said one night, frustration clear in his voice. Evelyn didn't argue. "This isn't charity," she replied gently. "It's gratitude. And maybe something more." Daniel didn't understand what she meant. Not yet. Because the truth was, Evelyn wasn't just fulfilling a promise anymore. She was staying, because she wanted to. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into something neither of them could define. Lily grew attached to Evelyn, her laughter filling the apartment in a way Daniel hadn't heard in years. And Evelyn, who once lived in a world of cold boardrooms and endless deals, found herself drawn to the warmth of this imperfect little family. But not everything was easy. Daniel struggled with pride. With trust. With the fear of losing everything again. And Evelyn carried her own battles, the pressure of her empire, the loneliness of success, and the growing realization that what she felt for Daniel wasn't temporary. It was real. One evening, after a long silence between them, Daniel finally spoke. "Why are you really here, Evelyn?" She looked at him, her composure slipping just enough to reveal the truth. "Because for the first time in my life, I feel like I belong somewhere." Daniel's heart tightened. "And that scares you?" he asked. Evelyn nodded. "More than anything." For a moment, neither moved. Then Daniel took a step closer. "You're not the only one who's scared." And in that quiet, fragile moment, something shifted. Not because everything was perfect. But because they both chose to stay. Through the doubts. Through the past. Through the uncertainty of what came next. Months later, Daniel stood at the same door where everything had begun. But this time, he wasn't opening it to a stranger. He was watching Evelyn walk toward him, Lily running ahead to greet her with laughter. And for the first time in years, Daniel felt something he thought he had lost forever. Hope. Because sometimes, life doesn't bring people together in the way we expect. Sometimes, it takes loss, promises, and second chances to lead us exactly where we're meant to be. And sometimes, the person who knocks on your door unexpectedly is the one who changes your life forever.